another episode of the Otaku Crew podcast. I'm your host, Wiseman Lee, and I hope everyone out there is having a great day. We are now on episode 26, I believe. So, for everyone who is listening in or watching it, I thank you for joining on this session. If you are listening to us, you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. on pretty much most podcast platforms, and we are also on YouTube. You can find us at the Otaku Crew channel. All links will be provided in the description, and if you do find us on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and give us some likes on our videos if you support us. We will greatly appreciate that. So for today's episode, I am collaborating with two podcasts. Up first, I want to give it up for my friend Neo, who I have collaborated on his podcast. His podcast is known as Babbletalk Podcast. What's up, Neo? How are you doing?
Into the E to the O, you already know this name from the Babbletalk podcast. Hope everybody doing well. I'm doing good, man.
All right, man. That's good, man. I loved your intro, though. That was good. That's good. And now the other person I would like to introduce. First time collaborating with him, but we've been following each other, and I think we understand understand each other, our sense of humor and everything. So I want to give it up for Eren, who is part of Animeplus podcast. How are you, Eren?
I'm chilling. How are you? How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are doing well. I wish I had a cool intro like Neo, but yeah, I don't.
Well, maybe in time you develop one. Like no hurry.
Sure.
So, guys, today we're gonna talk about Attack on Titan. Let me give a brief synopsis before we get into it. So, the story takes place in a fantasy world on cold Paradise Island, and pretty much it revolves around a young protagonist known as Eren Yeager. And so, what happens is his hometown is destroyed and his mother is killed. And so Eren Yeager vows to cleanse the earth of giant humanoid titans that have brought humanity to the brink of extinction. And so, yeah, humans are pretty much getting exterminated by giant creatures that they call titans. I think that's good enough. I don't want to give too much plot away. So let me ask you guys this. How did you get into this anime? How did you discover it?
Well, for me, I was following along for a lot of different animes. I know that was keep coming up for that one, so I got very excited. I remember the first episode was very dope, and they kept showing it on TV. They kept showing like one or two of the same episodes. And I was like, man, come on, I need to see the good stuff. You can't blow my mind in the first episode and they keep showing me the same thing. But overall, I really enjoyed the anime. It's very good. Top tier.
Okay, so you pretty much discovered it early on, when it was just like only a few episodes released.
Yeah, when it first came out.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. What about you, Eren?
Yeah, so it's funny. Back then, when I first heard of Attack on Titan, I was probably like 16-ish. I don't know, still pretty young. So one of my boys, he put me on. I used to only watch like the long-running animes, like the One Pieces and the Naruto's. So he told me to check out Attack on Titan. And I think at the time it was like 13, 14 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first time I ever started watching it. And, obviously, if you guys were there from the beginning, there was like a huge break between season 1 and season 2. But I just kept rewatching it because it was so good. But yeah, that's how I started watching it.
Okay, so when you're saying like 13, 14 episodes were released, that's pretty much half the season 1 was already out, and so you got into it. Okay, that's cool. It's funny. The story the way I stumbled upon it was kind of funny. I'm not sure when I was watching this, but I was watching this movie. And this movie was Jack the Giant Beanstalk, directed by Bryan Singer, who worked on like the X-Men movies. So that's based on the story of the Jack and the Beanstalk. When you grow that thing, the plant grows and goes up to the sky, and then you have to climb that and get to the magical kingdom, whatever. So that movie had giants, right? After I was done watching that movie, I was just browsing on the web to find like more stuff to watch, right? So at one point I was just on my anime page watching. scrolling, and then at one point I just stumbled upon this poster. So if you know the Attack on Titan poster where Eren is like facing the wall, and then there's a giant Titan hovering above that
Mhm.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just stumbled upon that, and I was like, "Oh shit, this looks interesting." So I'm like, "Oh, why don't I watch it?" It has giants. I mean, it has giants. I was just watching a giant movie, so I'm just gonna continue watching more giants. Yo, literally, I had no idea what kind of ride I was into, man. That anime got me hooked in just a few episodes. Like, man, I forget. I think just like for Ere, there was already quite a bit of episodes already released, and as soon as you start one, you kind of get interested into it, and then you just keep watching, and as you keep watching, you're delved in type. You're like you're invested so much more because each episode left you on the cliffhanger. Like you want to know more, 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 more. Like it was crazy. Like the world building behind this anime, like I've never seen like Isayama, this genius mind, become like so eccentric to give us such a great, beautiful anime like this. Like it's crazy.
I agree. I agree with you. It is wonderful. But I didn't like how they keep stopping the season, like, oh, this season, last final season, part one, part two, part four, final season.
Yeah,
You know, I was like, come on now. I'm like, I don't want to keep rewatching this over. It's good, but it ain't
yeah.
that good. And, you
Especially
know,
especially the big break we had between season one, season two. Like we had to wait like
um,
what 4 or 5 years for that next season to
yeah,
show up. I was like, oh my goodness, man, people have
they're
pretty much
doing
like
the
forgotten
avatar.
about it.
I wasn't ready for this.
But I think the fan base kept that up. They kept the asking for it. They kept their support up. Like we want to see more. We want to see more. Eventually, the studio did give it to us.
Yeah, they was doing the you don't know if you ever seen a little like comparison like the Avatar movies, like not the last Airbender, but the other one that it
The
came
blue
out with.
monkeys.
Yeah, and then over 10 years later, then they came out with
Yeah.
another one, but it's a trilogy of five. So I feel like Attack on Titan trying to do that, or like Hunter x Hunter, like okay, we're gonna give you some good content, and then we're gonna
Oh
go
man. Yeah.
here for like two
No.
decades, and we're
For
gonna come back
yeah.
to you like one
I
episode.
I'd say forget about Hunter x Hunter because that author is always going on break every 2 chapters. Like, oh, I'm so sick. I have to go. I have to take a break. Sorry, guys. And then you're just left hanging. Like, what? Come on.
Hey, then you just gotta finish yourself. You know, gotta draw it out yourself how you want it to end.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, guys. So I want to so now that I got how you guys feel how you started on this anime, let me get into a specific topic in Attack on Titan. So there is this character in the anime called Zeke Yeager, who is pretty much the brother of Eren Yeager. Kind of a mild spoiler because that is kind of revealed later on deep in the anime. But anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So there's this character called Zeke Yeager who has an idea on how to solve the Titan problem that the characters face in the show. And so his plan was to sterilize the Eldian race because apparently only the Eldian race can have the Titan power. So that's him suggesting that plan to Eren, and Eren, he accepts that too. And so what I want to ask you guys is, should Zeke Yeager go through with the sterilization plan of the Eldian race? Like, is he in the right?
Yes.
Oh, you're going yes, eh? You're going. You want the Eldian race gone? Okay, I see. What about you, Ere? Where do you stand?
And I get where he's coming from, but I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say no? Okay, so who wants to start off? Let's have a good debate.
I'm okay. I'm gonna go off. You know, based on you had to look from the perspective of Zeke and how he was raised from two different point of view in his lifetime, right? And how his grandparents was, and then versus how his parents was and whatnot. And I'm saying yes, but on a technical term of not destroying the race entirely, but removing them, removing everyone that's a part of that into a new a new paradise, like what they did, but just a better understanding of it, not how they like ripped them apart from taking everything from them. Like, no, You don't get nothing. We're gonna leave you with all these walls and trap them. Not the trapping part, just like their own free will of like, you know what? These people hate us for this reason. Let's make a better world for ourselves by just removing us. So, like, if you compare it to stuff like in the real world, with racism, because that's how it really has portrayed in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
If you took it like for like color for minorities or like colored people and stuff like that, and you feel like, what, let's all come together, our brothers and sisters, and be like, what, let's just make a gated community for us and only us, that's profitable, that's very good for us, and we can make jobs and everything like that for the people. And then those people who, even if they don't say it, but just based on how they look, we don't want them in there. Yeah, is it fair? No, but at least everybody that comes into in this community is who you want to come in, because we built it as a group, as a community, and we know who's coming into this community versus we put here and we don't know what's going on, and then when we find out, we even more mad because this wasn't our choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Let it be.
I see what you're going for. Like, well, where I stand, I'd be for also his plan of sterilizing the Eldian race. However, with a small caveat, I'd only go with that plan if all of the Eldian people were for that plan too. Because kind of what Zeke is doing, he's enacting his plan without consulting everyone there. Because pretty much that's him saying, like, I don't care what you guys think, I'm doing this, and this is the only way to obtain peace in the world. And so, when you first started off with the argument that Zeke had a very difficult upbringing, we saw that, like, yo, the
Yeah,
amount of pressure that Zeke was in, because first of all, they had the Marleyan people who were trying to make him into the warrior, but he was not able to perform up to their standards, and the amount of like shit that his dad will give is like, why are you not performing well? Like, why can't you do this, Zeke? We believe in you. Come on! Like, he was getting so much pressure. But in the end, all he ever wanted was his father's approval. His father's
yeah.
like just want his attention, pretty much his father's attention. And so when he was not getting that, and that he was kind of getting like he was getting indoctrinated on both sides. His father wanted him to be like the revolutionary warrior that would like bring upon like the downfall of Marley, and so the Eldian people can be free. Whereas Marley pretty much wanted him to be a warrior so that he could fight for the Marleyan empire and army, and like, yeah, so he was getting so much pressure. And so at that point, as a kid, I don't blame him. Like, eventually, that's very traumatic. Like, he's not getting the right nurturing he needs. And so at one point, he's probably like, yo, forget this. I'm just going to end it all. So I think for him, he wants to end the Eldian race for that reason. Ultimately, there's like two reasons, I think. One is to bring peace about the world, because the Marleyans, they see them, they pretty much see them as inferior to, because like you said, there's a bit of like World War II rhetoric going on here, like concentration camps, and then they're wearing the armbands and everything. So there is quite a bit of racism towards the Eldian people, and that's all done through indoctrination, right? It's all done through
Yeah.
education. They keep, because they have like, each side has their own history, and so for the Marley, the Eldians are seen as the devil because they're the one that brought destruction and havoc across the world and killed so many people, etc., etc. So they're seen as the bad guy, and only that, the Marleyans also see them as a threat, because the Eldian people are the only one that could turn to Titans. They are pretty much like tools of war. They're weapons, pretty much, and that's a very strong weapon that no one can control. And so the Marley really fear them, and they despise them for that reason too.
See, with that being said, if you see, for me, I'm like, knowing that I have that power of like, because of my bloodline of whatnot, it's like, I got that power. I'm like, so you should be scared of me.
Fear me if you dare.
So I should be royal, at that point, because you should bow to my feet every time you see me, because I can turn into whatever, even though I can't, because I don't have, it's steps to get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, for you to hate or fear us so much, you want to be so close to us at the same time. You want to go to war with people who can end it all with just with the right mixture of Titans combined into one,
Mhm.
which is crazy. So you want to end us, but you know you can't because you need us. You want to manipulate certain ones in your benefit
Yeah.
to get you to where you want to be and destroy the rest. But what if those that you try to manipulate turn on you? What do
Well,
you do
well,
then?
that's the funny thing. The Eldians on the Marlin side, they pretty much accept their fate. Like, yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm a tool. I'm a tool for war. I'm a weapon that should be used for the Marley side to vanquish their enemies. Like they accept it. But in the end, they don't realize that they are put in the same pedestal as all the other
Oh,
Eldians.
yeah.
Like they're treated as shit. Like, so what? You're a warrior. In the end, we control you. You're inferior to us, and you're our property pretty much. Hey, Eric, if you're whenever you want, you can jump in too, because
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now we're
So
making our case, and I want you to like refute us.
Well, we're waiting.
Yeah, yeah,
uh
man. Oh,
can I go off, man? Am I
yeah.
Go
good?
on, go on. You can interject
All
whenever you
right.
want.
All right. First of all, as a viewer, I'm gonna just quickly put out this perspective. I think that as a viewer, this is probably the most boring way to watch the series for them just to do this like euthanization plan. Because let's be honest, it's kind of boring. Like I want to see cool shit happen. You know what I mean? Like so in that
Okay.
perspective,
So your argument is like, oh, the anime would just end too quickly if Zeke just had his way like that.
that's one argument. Because let's be honest, man. If you guys are up to date, you know it's pretty cool seeing all the stuff that Eren's doing and
Yeah,
whatnot.
for sure, yeah.
All right, so that's my first perspective. Second perspective, I think there's better options out there than euthanization. Like, um, for example, like, isn't it possible to like instead of going through euthanization, can't they just get rid of? You were talking about how they're seen as weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Having that
Mm-hmm.
Titan ability. Can't they just disarm them so that way they wouldn't have a weapon? They have nothing to be afraid of. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. So you're saying instead of Zeke going through the sterilization plan, you should just take the Titan power away from the Eldians. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like that pretty much solves everything because for the most part, like up until that part, like I'd say like 99% of the Eldians didn't even know they had that part. Like especially living in the walls, they didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? It's not like they can just activate it.
True,
So
but the issue, like, you could definitely do that. Like, Z could pretty much take the power away. However, the hatred that's already rooted in its core for the Marlians to hate. Remember, it's not just Marley.
mhm.
It's all of the world are against Eldia, the Eldian people. You have I forgot who was the clan. Remember the guy? You guys remember the Asian clan that Mikasa's from
Yeah, yeah,
too? Yeah, so you
yeah.
got them. You got the Arabs too. There's a bit of Arabs in that show too. You got pretty much all of the world against Eren Yeager and his little island. And so, er, like the thing is like if you remove the power away from the Titan power away from them, in the end, they're still gonna hate you for what you did and what you are, and they will still consider you inferior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like that goes away with time. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that's
I don't
gonna go
know.
away with.
That's I don't know because again, indoctrination it keeps on going for generations too. You know, because think about it. When you have kids and grandchildren, you're gonna tell them the same
Mhm.
history that you were taught, right? They're not gonna think for yourself and be open to that. And so,
Uh, I got a part two to my plan though.
okay, what's your part
You
two?
ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So let's say that you know the Eldians within the wall. They form this superpower because obviously everyone's like afraid of them, and they know they can't really stand up to them because
Hmm.
we've seen what they did with what Eren did and whatnot. But let's say that they create a plan where they want to coexist with the other well with like other nations. So what they could do is they could erase the memories of the Eldians, right? So that they don't know anything about like the latent powers that they have, and then they have from other nations they take select people and they kind of mix these two communities together so nobody knows who's who. You know what I mean?
So
Like
wait,
nobody knows.
you're gonna try to take the memories away from the Elden people, but what about the Marlians? They will still know.
So they won't know because you'll take like a select few. You know what I mean? So everyone will be like, everyone won't know where everyone's from. You know what I mean? And you just don't.
But
you
how?
know.
I don't understand the logic. If you're taking a select few from Marley and you're putting them where
Mhm.
inside the island?
No, not on the island. Just like form these other communities elsewhere. You know what I mean? So like
I
for
mean,
example, like I'll take like a couple of families from each nation and kind of throw them in this one, I guess you can say like a gated community, and then you throw in some Eldians with erased memory, so they don't know that they feel like they're also part of a different nation, and you know nobody will know who's who or who's a part of what. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure how that works because if you're taking select families from the Marley side and putting them into a gated community, won't they question like how they got here and everything? Also, like how my question is like, how are you brainwashing the Marleyan people to be friends with the Eldian people in this community?
I said he's trying to do the Men in Black way with the little flashlight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you
I
neuralize?
feel like
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
you trying to do it that way. I think it's more to these because so, I don't know which Titan it was, but they have the power to erase the memories, right? They should just erase the memories of everybody besides one, right? Because if you look at how Eren betrayed Zeke in the end, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's similar to that. Like, I'm gonna make you. You think you was using me, but I was actually using you,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had it all set up from the get go. From the very beginning, Eren already knew how he wanted to do what he wanted to do and whatnot. So I feel like if you want to take that approach, you need someone to do the same thing, but the way you want it to be done without having the walls being up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for Eren, Zeke was just a what do you call means to the end. Also, like in the end, like Eren was probably not down for his plan because he wanted him and his people to be free because he was ultimately fighting for freedom and everything. But going back to the question, it's more about the ethics behind the decision that Zeke takes into his own hand, and that's kind of what we're debating about too. I mean, yeah, there's probably many ways around on resolving this, but the thing is, as long as one side knows what's happening, there's always still going to be like stigma and hatred behind it too. So you can erase the Eldian's memory, but that doesn't help them either because then they won't even know why the Marlians still hate them even more. They'll be even more confused. So
That's why we had to get rid of all of them.
yeah, that's why I said that's why for him. Here's the thing: the way I see it, it's more like mercy killing, slow mercy killing, and he Zeke directly is not killing anyone. He's just making sure that the race wipes out slowly out of existence. If he wanted, if Zeke wanted, he could have killed all the aliens right then and there, even through the power of the Titans. But he's like, let me do the more subtle humanitarian kind of maybe way. I mean, I don't know if I could count as humanitarian to be honest, but he's like, let me do it maybe my way, which I think he probably think this is the best way to do it anyway. What do you all think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, man, but at the same time, that's still not the most ethical way.
Mm,
Like hypothetically speaking, the most ethical way would be for everyone to kind of just, join hands,
get
do
along.
peace talks and whatnot. I know that would never work, but
But
technically,
that's what Zeke also thinks. He thinks that will never work too, because there's so much history behind the two warring faction. There, he's just like, man, the only way for to get peace ultimately on Earth is if all the aliens just perish away.
Yep. Just get rid of it. Get rid of them all in one sweep.
Well,
It's the
no,
only way.
no, Neo. Like we said, it would take a bit of time for it to like happen because remember, the current alien race are still there. It's just they can't bear children.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
yeah, if anything, Aaron's the one that's taking everyone else away in one swoop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into that debate. Maybe I might leave that for another time. But like, yeah, yeah. Is there any other arguments you guys want to put out there? I feel like Eric kind of gave up. He's like, shit, man. I have nothing else to can.
I give up, that's it.
I
Making
mean,
it.
I
Sorry,
don't
go.
know, man. I just feel like there's other ways they could have done it. Like obviously, this is something that I just put together. Like
Is there any other
probably,
way you can think of also then?
I mean, honestly, like they could show off their military strength in terms of like. So let's say, I mean, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know what happens. But I mean, Eren could flex all the powers that he has. You know what I mean? And then kind of just be like, all right, y'all leave us alone. You know what I mean? Like we kind of showed you guys what's going on. I don't know,
But
man.
I think it's
no,
flexing a bit too hard.
so I think the best way, if you want it, if you want Zeke to not do what he do, right, is do Zeke will have to do what Eren did from the theory that we have seen in the anime, right? Is that he was able to go back in memory to persuade certain people to do certain things before that time, right? When it all led back to Eren, he was
Mm.
not behind it. So if Zeke had that power to go back in memory of saying to his father or to his parents or whatnot, to his grandparents or whatnot, on different ways of how to make it better for them, down the road he would have changed fate.
Neo, did you just join Ares side now? Now I think you're fighting against it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying if he wanted to
Yeah.
go that route, that he would have to take.
That's actually a good point. You're right. Because time travel exists also in this anime, through consciousness. I think just I'm not. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it works.
To memory, to consciousness.
Memory.
If that's the
Yeah.
route that he feels that without killing people, that's the route he had to take.
Yeah.
If he was smart enough to think that far ahead, but he wasn't. He
Mm.
wasn't. He didn't think that far ahead.
Mm.
So he have to sterilize the race.
Yeah.
He have to do it. He
What
have no choice to do it.
I think for Zeke, it's more become like his place on the earth in the end, because most of the time, all these characters they always question themselves like, why was I born to this cruel world? I don't want to be here. And so
Really?
For Zeke, hearing and understanding his place and hearing that from others too, he's probably thinking like, you know what, I can help you with that, man. We could just end it off easily by just wiping us out slowly. For Ere, I think an argument in your favor, let's say, would be also like instead of doing sterilization of the Eldian race, maybe it's better off if you just wipe the rest of the world and just that's pretty much what you were saying. Just like how about instead of destroying our people, we'll just destroy everybody else, and then we'll be at peace, and then there won't be any.
I mean, it might honestly be a better solution just because at the end of the day, like they can get rid of all the Titans and whatnot
Yeah,
after it, and then there would be no hate or stigma either.
true.
You know what I mean?
But then the question also becomes, how is that any better than what the current plan is, right?
I think when one group of people start to like they're the aggravators or they're the aggressors, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay if your back's against the wall to fight back, you know what I mean? In this case, it might be a little bit too much fighting back, but you're not the one who like kind of instigated it. You know what I mean? Like the current Eldians born right now haven't done anything, and they're getting kind of
That is
um
a good point. You're right. The current aliens do not even know of their own history, their own ancestors, what they did. So they're like, why am I getting like punished and accused for something that I wasn't around that happened? Good point.
right.
So then it's like unjust to put the accusation on them then, right? From the Omarians to them.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah. On top of that point, like, kind of just being like, all right, let's get rid of all this hate and stigma and whatnot by crushing the opposition. You know what I mean? Like that would completely reshape the world, but at the same time, like I guess you could say I don't know if this is a better alternative or not, but the world would be. I mean, it would be peaceful because it's just one group of people who, I mean, I'm assuming they would have to either erase their memories afterwards or get rid of their Titan
Yeah.
powers or whatnot. But
I
yeah,
do like your argument of wiping out the other race first before like get rid of them. But then the thing is, the difference between that and Zeke's plan is that again Zeke is not directly killing anyone. He just took the power away for you to reproduce and everything. Whereas if you go with your way, well then you're really going out doing genocide across the entire globe.
true.
And that becomes another dilemma. So I'm like, I think at that point, if I had to compare, I think Zeke's plan is probably more humane, even though it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like there's no right answer. But
That's the whole reason we're having this debate. Like, where do we stand on this topic?
I know,
They
man.
take the ability away for them to reproduce. It's just certain people. It's not everybody. It's just those. It's just
Well, then if you take if you take away most people and keep a few around, well, then you're being kind of a hypocrite, no, Neil?
No, I'm saying take it all.
Oh, take it all. Okay, yeah, that includes Zeke himself too. But then again, Zeke doesn't want to live in a cruel world.
Zeke don't care.
Yeah,
He just wants the suffering to stop.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, he thinks that probably if the Eldian race are gone, no one will have to fear them, and then everybody else can just live peacefully on the world.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Eri? Any last thoughts on the
I
argument?
I kind of don't agree with that because the two countries were still kind of fighting anyways. Like they showed it in the first episode of like season 3 or whatnot. I think it was like the Marlians, they were fighting this other race, right? So war was still existing.
Okay. It's pretty much when they were attacking the Arabs, like in the Arab country.
Yeah.
And funny enough, they were using Titans to pretty much conquer them.
Exactly. So it's like even if you get rid of the Eldians, they still have war. You know what I mean? One thing that we can say for a fact is the current Eldians that are living inside the walls, they have people from all different races, for the most part. Like I'd say a majority of them. And there has not been like internal war conflict. I'm sure there's been like murders and
there has been
stuff.
some internal conflict, yeah. But
But
again,
it's not like the same type of like grand scale of things. Like it's not like a war they're having. It's not like the inside walls versus outside walls. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I got you. Yeah, you make a good point though. Like, how sure are we that if the Eldian race is exterminated by sterilization, how sure are we that everybody else will find peace on Earth? Like, maybe there's still be conflicts and fighting going on. True, throughout the world. Okay, yeah, you make a good point. It's just that maybe
Right.
they won't be using the power of the Titans.
Exactly. Like and on top of that, like these other countries were developing like weapons that could destroy Titans anyway. So it was only a matter of time before like the Titans would have been like not as strong of a weapon. You know what I mean? Like they were dropping those bombs or that those cards like talk about like those tanks. Yeah, tanks. Like those were wiping out Titans left and right. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah, but I think
I
for
don't know.
that context, I think Zeke would probably fear that even more because him realizing that the Titans are kind of getting fitted. They're they're starting to become not useful weapons because now they have better weapons that can go against the Titans. So then Zeke would probably fear for his people even more because then people would realize that the Titan power is no good, and then they would probably think about exterminating the whole entire Eldian race too. Then. Yeah, it becomes a dilemma. The question becomes: does Zeke want to eliminate the race himself, or does he let Marley do that too? Oh man, it becomes a difficult scenario.
Yeah.
Neil, you got any last thoughts?
No, it's pretty much. It's hard to say. It's like that.
Mm,
It's hard to pick which side is the best because each one got their good points, each one got their bad points. It's up to
yeah, agreed.
we're gonna let the viewers pick which is the best option.
You know what?
Which is the best option.
I'm down for that. For everyone watching and listening in, what do you guys think? Which side? Are you in favor with Zeke's plan? Are you against it? How would you resolve the violence, the war, and how would you bring peace on in this world? Okay, mind you, this is a fiction. And so I'm not condoning for mass genocide here.
It was a joke, bro.
This is just a hypothetical question I just came up with that I just thought would be interesting to have a debate on. So just know that I'm not for it. Like I said, I was for it in the show, but yeah, it's messed up. Never mind. Okay. So what was I gonna ask? So yeah, I don't know how far you guys have caught up to the show, but what are your overall thoughts now? Like, do you like it? Do you not like it anymore? Are you still keeping up with it? Have you fallen out? Or where do you stand?
So with me, when it first came out, I was all for it. I loved it, loved watching it. But then over time, it just like, man, when is gonna come back? And then it took me forever to like get past season 2 because I was like, I already know everything that's going on, but I have to rewatch it so it's fresh in my mind.
Were
But
you
now since I'm all caught up. I'm saying like during the process.
were you reading the manga ahead too?
No, I was waiting for the anime. I ain't feel like reading the
Okay,
manga.
it was a long wait. Eh? Yeah, I know.
It was a long wait, but now I'm all caught up and I'm like, okay, you know what? I like it. I love it. I remember why I wanted to watch it in the beginning, if that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, look good. What about you, Ere?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with Neil. Honestly, man, I'd say Attack on Titan is without a doubt one of my favorite animes. Definitely on my top 5 list. It's just so entertaining, and every time I'll pull up like a TikTok talking about Attack on Titan, I'll see all these crazy foreshadowings or things that happen in the first or second episode that are like foreshadowing things that are
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, and then the callbacks to it, like the callback to it, you're like, oh my god, I never realized this. Oh
Yeah,
shoot, you're
yeah,
like crazy.
right. Like the storytelling and the foreshadowing is just insane, and I think that every time I watch one of those clips, it reminds me of how good Attack on Titan is and how much I enjoy it. You
That's
know what I
good.
mean?
That's good. So that means all of us are here keeping up with. That's good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm up to date, at least anime wise, and I have read the manga. I do know how it, I do know how it ends, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. But like, I should say, brace yourself. You might like it or not like it too. It was very controversial when the last chapter was released. We'll just say that.
I heard that they're doing like an anime like original ending. I don't know if that's true or not.
That makes sense. I'm curious to see how they ended in the anime. They might deviate from the manga, but
Mhm.
time will tell. We'll see, of course.
I think
Nice, perfect. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining on today's topic on the Attack on Titan and Zeke's plan through his sterilization plan through the Eldian race. It's been a topic I've been really wanted to get through, and thanks to you guys, we were able to talk about it today. So thank you so much for joining.
having this on.
Yeah, no problem. So thanks. So for everyone listening in and watching, of course, please continue to show our support. Like I said, our episodes are on most podcast platforms. I'll repeat again, it's like Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Just look us up. We're also on YouTube, of course. So if you find our channel, please subscribe and give us a like too. And you can also follow us on most social media platforms. So we are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. All the links will be in the description. I'll also add my panelists plugins also in the description. Do you guys want to plug in anything right now also, audio wise, like for the viewers?
You already know it's Into the E to the O from the Babbletalk podcast. If you guys are watching this episode on their podcast, it will also be on my channel as well. If you want to be part of the podcast, you can please reach out to us on Babbletalk Pod, one word, on all social media platforms.
Last word goes to you, Ere.
Yeah, every time I hear Neil's intro, man, it's tough, man. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's hard to follow up. Yeah.
No, I gotta I might have to steal some of that, you feel me? Um but yeah, I mean you guys can catch us on Animeplus. We're on pretty much every single streaming platform. It's the easiest way to get to us is if you go to our Instagram, which is Animeplus Podcast. We have a link tree in there which has every single one of our links. So that's probably the easiest way if you guys want to check out our like whatever streaming platform, YouTube, TikTok, pretty much anything. So yeah, that's the easiest way. Go to Instagram. But yeah, once again, I just want to thank you for having us on the pod, man, and especially me, man. I feel good. I'm pretty new to podcasting, so it was great having to be on this,
Thank you, man. Thank
this
you. My
pod, man.
pleasure. Please, everyone, go show them some love, man. Check them out, and I think you're gonna like them even more. And hopefully they will continue to also support you guys too. So thank you, everyone. I'm gonna wish you guys a great day. So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Peace out, everyone.